His article, he posited that in the world of today, the Bill of Rights would never ever pass. And he makes a very compelling case. I don't think that there's much dispute in people who think about it for just a few moments. The debate that happened in the Continental Congress around the Bill of Rights, we would never even be able to have that kind of debate today. As Charlie says, in classical liberalism, it requires that the citizenry respect the crucial distinction that obtains between the principle of a given rule and the consequences that the rule might feasibly yield. And he talks about the difference is when they were laying out the Bill of Rights originally, they were talking about the principles rather than the result. And today we're in such a results-based society that we seem to look at everything in terms of what are the outcomes of it. And it's really kind of odd and backwards, because conservatives will discuss whether something is good or right or positive or something that we want based on what we expect the outcome to be in terms of, financial benefit or opportunities or ability to open businesses, and we discuss things in terms of the outcomes that we expect. And the left will discuss things in terms of the feelings that lead them to have the idea that this is a good law, or the outcomes that they expect in terms of nebulous things like happiness and freedom and equality and stuff like that. And it's very difficult to get people to take a step back and consider whether it's the right thing to do or not, whether it is right or not. As Charlie says, a country in which the people are focused primarily on what might be done with those rights, by contrast, will be a country that prefers to elevate and to abide by the whims of transient majorities, or perhaps by the discretion of a supposedly enlightened few. And back in 1788, Patrick Henry insisted that Americans should expect the refurbished national government to provide a framework for ordered liberty, and not to guarantee a particular set of outcomes. And we have become, over the 200 and some years, exactly the reverse. We are expecting our politicians to provide a guaranteed set of outcomes, and we pay much less attention to a framework for ordered liberty. We're not making a convincing argument that government-mandated health care is wrong. We're trying to argue against Obamacare on the basis of facts and figures and statistics, and people roll their eyes and answer with, yeah, but we should care for everybody, and healthcare is a right, etc. And we're absolutely failing, and we're losing our rights as a nation because the nation has changed the way it thinks and talks about things, and we haven't changed the way we discuss and promote our ideas.
It stands to reason that people are more outcome-oriented than principle-oriented. And as you said, when we talk about those principles, we are just sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher to people. And it's difficult. It's difficult to get through that noise.
The leftist principles that they preach, and they do preach all the time, but the principles are what win the arguments and are what convince people to be liberals. I'm a liberal because I care about the poor, or I care about income inequality, or I care about women. Those are principle-based arguments. And I want government-provided health care because everyone should be cared for, and the government should guarantee you a certain minimum level of health care. These are principles that people agree with and that they have been convinced by, and there aren't any people on our side preaching the countervailing principles. The people on our side are arguing with facts.
We are in a society where young people especially do not think in terms of long term. They think solely in terms of the now, instant. And that is the barrier you have to break through so that they'll listen. They will listen to the long term. They'll listen, but you got to break through the barrier of why they care about the present. That's why I always tell people the first thing you want to do is praise them for their motives. Praise them for their good motives in a discussion on a topic. Taking care of them. They want to take from the rich, give to the poor. The rich have too much, the poor have too little. Don't tell them that's stealing. That's not the lead-in, even though it is. The lead-in is, I think it's great that you see people in need and you want to see them taken care of. Lower that wall quickly, and then they can start listening to your long-term wisdom to how you would better cater to fixing it.
Can I point out that, Andy, in stating that I love the way that you want to take care of the poor, is not compromising principles at all? Can we say that he did not go full rhino on that?
That's affirming our principles, because we want to care for the poor as well. We want to care them all the way out of their poverty.
We
talked about that last week.
Yeah.
I didn't even go slightly rhino. You see, what I did is I totally agreed with their motives. I agreed with why they hold their views.
Because we share them. We share those motives.
The idea behind it comes from having discussions with people where they say, oh, you're conservative, you don't care about the poor. You're Republican, you only like the rich people. You just want the rich to succeed. You don't care about anyone else.